Hello guys, and welcome back to the Rising Tide. In this video, I will be showing you the Expo Camera API for Expo 15. Here we'll be exploring concepts such as taking pictures, making recording from both cameras, that is the front and the rear camera, and I will be showing you some other cool tricks that you can implement in your Expo Camera app. So if that is interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and let's get started now. Alright, so here I have a blank React Native project with just a simple view showing text. As you can see, there's text hidden up there somewhere. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to install a couple of dependencies for our project. So I'm just going to open my terminal and I'll create a new terminal window. I'm going to run this command to install a couple of dependencies for our project. The first one you will need is the Expo font icon. So you say add Expo vector icons. Icons. Next, you need the Expo camera because this is an Expo camera video, and you need the expo-media-library. It's going to install these libraries in on your project. So I'm going to leave the script on how to install these libraries in the video description. So once it's finished installing, because I already have it installed, I'm just going to come back to our app here and we're just going to call the camera API. So I'm going to say camera, and it's going to import it from Expo Camera, and that is everything we need. That is just the camera API. So before rendering this, a couple of components that we have to do around it to make sure that it works properly. The first one is we need to check if we have permissions for this. So we're going to come here, we'll say cons permission and request permission. We'll set that to the camera dot use camera permission. Use camera permission. Hold on. Yeah, this one. Let me minimize this window. So in here, so once you have declared that, you're first of all going to check if you have permissions to use this API. That is, if the device has provided you with enough clearance. So you're going to come here, you're going to say if there is not permission, the permission is not granted. You're just going to return a single view with we're not going to design this, but you can design it however you want. Next, we're going to check if the permission is there but it is not granted. So you say if not permission dot granted. Here we're just going to return another view. This view will style it. So say style is container, and in here we're just going to create a text that says that says you need permission to access the camera, or you must provide permissions, or whatever message you want to display to the user. Now we're going to put a button that's going to try to request that permission. So we'll say on press. We're just going to call this function. So request the permission. We'll give it a title for screen reader. So you say grant permission. And finally, this is how you close that button. Next, we're just going to give some style for this button component. So for this text rather, so we'll say the styles to be text align. We'll set it to center. Now that is everything we need to set up the application. So as you can see, permission has not been granted, but it is showing, it's asking us for permission. So let me try to fix this container so the app is more visible. So set for the container, we'll set the flex of 1. We'll set align items. No, we justify content rather. It's the center. And then for design's sake, because we also have a container here, I'm just going to give it style to be styles.container as well. So this is it, showing us that permissions have not been granted for our application. If you click on this thing, this grant permission, you're going to try to request the permissions to access your camera. So I'm going to allow it. And now this component is now the one being run. So the camera is actually there, but it is really tiny, so you cannot see it. So we're going to set a couple of attributes for this camera. The first one is going to set is a type, which will set it to type. We're going to declare the state in a minute. The next one we'll set is a style to make our camera visible, to make sure that we're doing the correct thing. So set the height to be a value called height. Let's create that value up. So we'll come to the top here, we'll say cons width is equal to use dimension or use window dimension. And after setting the width, we're going to set the height property. So we'll say cons height is equal to here we're supposed to have it in curly braces like that. So down here we'll say we'll call the mat.round function, and we're going to pass in the width. We're going to perform some arithmetic on this by saying width times 16 divided by 9. This is because of the aspect ratio. We want the aspect ratio to be 16:9, so that's why we'll set this property. So once that is set, it says type is not defined, so we'll come up here and we'll say cons type and set type. We'll set that to a use state. And in here we'll set the state to be camera type dot this is the state that shows you the type of camera you want to access, if it is the front camera or the rear camera. So I'm just going to set it to the back camera for now. So you can also set it to the front camera. So I'm going to set mine to the back camera, and that is going to fix that error. As you can see now, this is our camera being displayed. Sorry, I covered the camera from not showing, so that is why you're not seeing anything. So the next property we're going to set for this camera is the aspect ratio. So I'm just going to come here. I'll set the ratio to a 16:9. The reason why this is important is if you don't set it, the camera is going to look a bit jagged. Like you will see some lag in it, like when you tilt the camera, and when you even take a picture with it, it's going to look it's not going to look good. So that's why you have to set this aspect ratio for your camera. The next property we're going to set is the flash mode of the camera. So we'll set the flash mode to be a variable called flash mode. We'll create this state up here. So I'm going to copy this, and up here I'll say use state. I'll set the flash mode to, the flash mode can have two states. Either the camera is on or it is off. Sorry, either the flash is on or it is off. So by default, I'm just going to set it to on, and then you can set it to off later on, or rather, let me set it to off instead. So you can create a function, or we're going to create a function to toggle this camera to on or off depending on how we want it to behave. A very important property we need to set is the ref of the button. So this is what is going to help us to be able to take pictures or record videos with it. So this is going to help us manage the camera state. So declare it down here, and up here I'm going to create it. So seconds camera ref is equal to useRef, and finally we're just going to set the autofocus mode to true, to autofocus. So set it to true. So that's everything we need for this camera to work properly. The reason you're not seeing anything being displayed right now is because if I pull up the documentation, you're going to see that Expo Camera is not available on any emulator. Whether it is Android or iOS, it is not available. So we're just going to work with what we have here. Or you can try running it on the web. I'm just going to come back here to this my view, and I'll create a view here. I'll start this view with the style of styles that the button wrapper, because this is where we're going to put the buttons for our application. So I'm just going to call it button container instead. And in here, I'll create a touchable opacity for a couple of components. So I'll say touchable opacity from React Native. I'll style it with the styles of button on press. This is going to be a function. We'll set this first button to toggle the camera type. So from rear camera to front camera to rear camera. So say toggle camera type. We'll create this function in a minute. And in here, we're just going to render a text. Set the style to be styles.text, and in here we're just going to say flip camera. Now you can design this however you want. Maybe you put an icon instead of the text flip camera. Let me create this function up here. So say const flip camera toggle camera type is equal to an arrow function. Let's move this up. So it comes after this our views. So I'm just going to repeat this process for the next button that we'll create, which is the button to actually capture. So here we're just going to say it is called capture photo. And I'll create that up here as well. Next, I'm going to provide some styles for this button containers. So it's our component. I'll come down here, not that, this, and I'll say for this our wrapper button, I'm just going to set the flex direction to roll. Next, I'll set the background to black. I'm going to set the margin property, that is the margin, to 64, and I'll set margin bottom to 40. I'm just going to set some padding to it to give it a bit of space around it. So set it to 10, and the border radius to give it some curve, I'll set it to 30. And finally, a top property, because we want this button to be down at the bottom of the screen, like somewhere down here. For some reason, okay, this is supposed to be like that. I'll set the background of the screen to be black. Sorry, background color to be black. Give it a bit of aesthetics to the application. So it says refreshing your application is going to resolve that error. So buttons are somewhere down here. You can't see them right now. So I would reverse this, because in the final product I was testing on my device. This was very visible. So now that it is very dark and you cannot test on an actual emulator, I'm going to set it to white, so you can see the buttons how they are displayed. So next, we're going to start the buttons themselves. So here I'm just going to set the flex of 1, align item, so set it to center, and I'll set the align self property, we'll set it to flex n. This is going to justify the content inside this div. So up here, I'm just going to create one other touchable button. So this is going to be the touchable button to record a video. So here we're going to say, change this function name to called record media, and here we're just going to change it to record. Alright, it's going to crash because I haven't created the function. So just come up here and I'll create the function here. Alright, that should resolve that error. Alright, so these is our buttons. These are our buttons for the application. We're going to create other buttons, but for now, let us work with this. So we'll start creating the function for the application. The first one we'll create is the flip camera button, which is this function here. I'll come up to where the function is defined. Since the camera type was defined here as the back camera, so I'm going to say set type, which is going to be the type of the camera which we'll be using in the application. So say set type. I'm going to get the current camera type. Then we'll say if the current type is equal to camera type dot back. If this condition is true, we need to set the camera to camera type dot front. Camera type dot front. Else, we're just going to set it to camera type dot back. Now this is just going to handle the whole camera thing. So let me fix the indentation for this. This is here. Right, so this is all the functionality we need to flip the camera. So when you click on this, it's going to flip the camera to the front-facing camera and vice versa. Now to capture photo, which is the next component we're going to build, this function is going to be an async function. Same as this one down here. So we're just going to copy this for this too. We're going to wrap this in a try catch block so that if there's an error, our application doesn't crash. So we'll say if there's an error, just warn us of the error. Now in here, we'll say let the photo is equal to await. We'll call the camera ref, which is what actually handles all the current value of the camera. So this ref that we pass to the camera. So get the current camera, which is what the camera is displaying, and we will say not record, take photo. So you take picture async like that. Now this is what is just going to take the photo. Now to save the photo, let us pass in a couple of properties. So the first thing is we're going to set the preview, set preview visible to true. This is a state that we create that we're going to create in a minute. This is if in case you want to preview the image after taking it, so you can decide not to use it if you don't want to manage states for if the camera is in preview mode or not. The next one we'll set is a captured image. We'll set it to the photo, not for a photo. And let's create those two states here. So the first one is use state. The first one is called preview visible. So preview visible, this one, we'll set it to false by default. And the use state again for the second one, which is captured image. So captured image, and we're going to set it to null by default. And so these are our two states that we're using, calling down here. So you can use these states like I mentioned. You can use the states when you want to display the images after taking a picture. So if you want to preview the images after that, you can use those two states. These two states here. So now to save the camera to your phone's gallery or to the device gallery, what you do is you say cons asset, you set it to await camera ref. No, not await camera ref. You set it to the media library. This is the media library that we installed that we installed a while ago. So you set the media library dot now you're just going to pass in the photo URI, and that is going to save the image. So another thing we should pass in here is the create album where we want it to be saved in our device. So just going to say await media library dot create. Or the reason why this is not displaying is let us try to import this camera library up here. So we'll say import star as media library from expo media library. So down here, as we're typing this, well, we're going to be able to see the options such as this one, create album async, where we're going to set the value to be where the folder we want to save it in. I'm just going to call it expo project, and here we'll pass in the asset we created up there, and this third property, which is the copy asset. Now that is everything we need to take a picture with the camera. So when you click on capture, if you're on an actual device, you'll be able to capture an image. However, here on an emulator, is going to say throw you this warning saying it has been rejected. Alright, so you need to request permission for this. So we're going to do that in a minute. Request the permission to access the library. So the next function which we're going to develop is the record media. So this function is similar to this one. So it has this try catch block. I'm just going to copy it, and I will remove everything inside here. So it will be camera and not take photo. However, we'll set it to be equal to record async. Now, if you're wondering where I am getting this functions from, I'm actually getting them from the Expo documentation, which you can find here. So you come here to the Expo documentation, you're going to see the function to take a photo. So you just search take photo. Right, this is the take picture function, and the record video. So it's a record video. Where is it? It is somewhere. What is the name again? Record async. So if you search record async here, this is the function to actually start the recording, and there's also a function to stop the recording, which you can find down here. So we're going to implement this now. So come down here, and we're saying after you're finished recording, what you need to do now is you need to save the image to your library. So come here and we'll say cons asset is going to be a similar function as the one up here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it here, and this is not a photo but the recording. And down here, we're going to copy this same function again, and this is to save the asset. So one thing we need to do is we need to have a state to check if the uh, camera is actually recording, so we'll be able to stop the camera from recording later on, because this function only starts the recording, it doesn't stop the recording. Otherwise your phone is going to record the video forever. So we'll come here and we'll set the state. So we say if it's recording, I'm going to set it to by default to be false. Down here we'll say set the recording, set its recording to true. This is going to make sure that like I said, manage and help us to stop the recording later. So for the difference between recording, taking a photo and making a recording is that recording actually takes the sound as well. So we need to request permission for that. So here we're going to say await camera dot request microphone permission async, this function to request access to the camera. So if you hit this button, it's going to start recording now. So before that, you need to be able to stop the recording, like I said, in order to prevent your application from taking recordings forever. So down here, we're going to create a condition here. So we'll say if it's recording, the first thing we're going to do is say create a function to stop it. So we'll say if it's recording, stop recording. I'm going to create a function here. So it says stop recording. And up here is going to be a very simple function. So say const stop recording is equal to a similar function to this. It doesn't need any await things. It is a direct stop recording. So stop recording. This function again, like I said, we're getting it from here. So this is the function we're calling. I'm just going to copy it. Sorry, here. Back into our code, we're just going to replace this with this, and it is the exact same thing. And finally, we need to set the is recording state back to false to make sure that we actually stop the recording. We can actually start recording later. So if we hit on this button now, we're going to start recording. So actually, currently a video is being recorded right now. Oh, it needs you to access your camera, so your audio. So I'm just going to allow while using this app. And I started recording the video. There's an error here saying a warning saying has been rejected because camera is not running. Like I said, this is because we are running an emulator, and Expo is not the Expo camera is not available for the emulators for now. But you can, if you are running this on your actual device, which you can do so by scanning the QR code here. That is, if you have the Expo Go app on your machine, or if you're running a bare React Native project, you can also press A to open on Android, and that's going to open on your physical device. So I'm just going to stop the recording now because that is recording something. And down here, we're just going to create a cool button for our recording rather than having this boring text. So down here, we'll create a pressable and say on press. We're not going to define the on press now, but we'll set the style to be styles.capture button. And in here, I'm just going to have an empty view that says capture button inner. Capture btn inner is going to be an empty view, like I mentioned. Let's give it some stylings. We'll come down here. Let's do it up here so we can see the button. It says pressable doesn't exist, so we're supposed to import it. That should to fix that. Alright, so we need to set another property, which is the bottom property. Just set it to 10. Sorry, 10%. Okay, for our inner button, I'm just going to copy the styles and paste it in because we cannot spend all day designing the buttons. So down here, I'm just going to paste that in. This is supposed to say capture button inner or capture button inner, whichever one. Now the function is just going to be the same function as the one up here. So it will be not record video but capture photo, this function. So yeah, this is a cooler button to take a picture. So you have the recording buttons as well. Some other cool buttons I added were the flash button to toggle the flash. So I'm just going to come here. So not to bore you with the implementation of the flash button, I'm just going to paste in the button here, and for the function, we'll create it up here. We'll say const flash button. We'll set it to an arrow function that is going to do nothing for now. And down here, I'm just going to also paste in the styles for the button. So I'll copy it from on my other screen, and I will come down here and paste it in. It's going to say the icon is not imported. So come here and we're going to import this icon by pressing Ctrl space and enter to import that. That's going to resolve this icon not found but error. So as you can see, this is our button being displayed. So like I said, I believe the flash mode is on. That is why you are seeing this. So if you click on it, you can toggle the flash mode from on to off. For some reason it is not accepting the toggle. I believe it is because the camera is not being used for now, so it is set to front camera synthesis and emulator as well. So but you should be able to toggle the flash mode to on and off depending on your need. So coming up here to this our flash mode function, we forgot to implement it. We're going to say if the flash mode is on, that is equal to on, we're going to set the flash mode to off, and vice versa. So else if it is on, so else if flash mode is equal to off, we'll set the flash mode to on. And finally, there will be an else condition that's going to say else just set the flash mode to auto. That's going to handle the changing the flash mode from different states. So you click on it, the flash mode is on, off now. If you click on the flash mode, it's going to set it to on, and that's how the toggle works. So that is it for this video. If you find it interesting, please subscribe to the channel for more interesting videos like this. And thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.